Hello and welcome. My name is Mike Felker, and this is the JW Review Podcast, where we normally are reviewing next week's Watchtower study articles. Next week's article wasn't too overly interesting, so what I wanted to do this week is share a little experience I had with Jehovah's Witnesses who came to my door this past Sunday. And sorry I missed the review last week. I had some business travel, so I just simply wasn't able to do a video. I wanted to because there were some interesting things in last week's study article that I really wanted to go over. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I don't think this will be very long because the experience was brief. So let me back up a little bit to this past December. Me and my wife had just picked up my dog from the vet who had a major abdominal surgery, and I think it was a Sunday afternoon. We were bringing her home. She was in the cone, and just, when a dog is been under anesthesia and had a major surgery, it's obviously a difficult situation. So we were trying to get her up our 60 stairs going into our townhome, and so lo and behold, Jehovah's Witnesses were literally walking upon us as we were trying to get our dog in the house. And it's a big dog, so I had to be the one to carry it, and it really needed to get inside. And it was raining outside, just not a great situation. So I told the Jehovah's Witnesses, it was two men, and I just told them, guys, sorry, this is not a great time, but I'd love for you to come back, and I'd be happy to have a discussion with you. So that was that, and that was in December, this past December. And they came back this Sunday, so 2 months roughly had passed by. And so they knocked on the door, and actually this was at about this was late morning, a little bit before noon. I was actually me and my wife were actually about to head out the door to grab some lunch, and so I had my coat on and everything. I was about ready to go out, but when they knocked, and so it also wasn't the best time, but I wasn't going to let this opportunity slip me by. So I opened the door, and these two Jehovah's Witnesses didn't even tell me their name, and I could tell they were very uncomfortable. I don't see myself as a very intimidating person, so I opened the door and said, "Hey guys, how's it going? What can I help you with?" And the guy was stumbling and stammering, and he just, I guess, wasn't prepared for someone to listen to him. It was a pretty odd thing, because usually Jehovah's Witnesses kind of have their pitch. They generally know what to say. Maybe this guy is a newer witness. I don't know. I didn't really get their background, but he was kind of stumbling along, just getting the process started. So essentially he just said that they're in the neighborhood, they're just here to share Bible truths with people. Would you mind if I read you a Bible verse? And I said, yeah, sure. So he read from me, predictably, Psalm 83:18. He showed me from his phone, and that was actually the first time, I think at the door, a Jehovah's Witness had shown something in the Bible on a first visit out of their phone to me, which I'm okay with that. It's just that it was normally an actual Bible that they would usually show me, but he showed me in the Bible, and interestingly, he didn't ask me to read it. Usually they ask, if you wouldn't mind reading it, but he showed it to me. He read it. He didn't ask me a single question about the verse. The only question I got asked the entire time was, can I read you this verse? So there was no asking me, what do I think about this or that or the other. It was, he read the verse. He said, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we emphasize the name Jehovah, and that's what we're here to do. And he basically left it at that. He asked me a few questions about my dog and how my dog was doing, which I appreciated that he remembered that, and that was nice. So I kind of told them about my dog and what had happened, and why we had to kind of cut things short last time and didn't even get to go into a discussion. But the conversation, I could tell, was ending. It was a very surprisingly quick conversation, and so essentially they were about to make their way off my doorstep. They were ready to go after they read Psalm 83:18, told me they were Jehovah's Witnesses. They were ready to go, and so I just got this impression that they were just there to kind of get their ticket punched, that they had gone to my door, introduced themselves to me, and they were going to go on their merry way. So I kind of took that as this may not be the best opportunity for me to give them a really difficult, challenging question. I was prepared to. In fact, what I was going to bring up was he made critical mistake when he brought up the name Jehovah. He talked about Jehovah being in the English and Yahweh being in the Greek. So I wanted to kind of talk to him about that, and then also ask them about why the name Jehovah is not in any of the over 5,000 manuscripts that we have of the Christian Greek scriptures. I was going to go into that because that sounds like an interesting leeway, but he seemed to be a pretty uninformed, unexperienced Jehovah's Witness. The guy next to him didn't really talk much. This other guy was leading the way, so it's kind of hard to tell kind of where they were at in their understanding and their level of understanding of Jehovah's Witness doctrine. So I just didn't think it was the best time to pose a difficult question because A, they were already kind of nervous from me even opening the door and wanting to listen to them, and B, they just didn't seem too overly knowledgeable. And so I just thought that, okay, well, let's just arrange for a time for us to speak together, where we can actually sit down at the table, open up our Bibles, and just have a really nice discussion. So they did ask me, once I kind of brought up that, I am a follower of Jesus Christ, and I've actually studied the beliefs of Jehovah's Witnesses, so I am familiar with what you believe, and I would be more than happy to have a discussion with you guys. So I am the one who seemed to be really prompting the further discussion. And so he took down my number. He sent me a text so that I had his number. His name was Russ, by the way. If you want to pray for him, I don't remember what his friend's name was, but his name was Russ. So I haven't heard back. This was this past Sunday, and I sent them the text just thanking them for stopping by, and I would love to have a discussion with them. And so my hope is that they will want to meet with me, and then we can sit down, open up our Bibles, and kind of go from there and just talk about the scriptures. And I don't know what direction it'll go. I don't know what direction I even want to take this in. Opportunities like this don't happen for me too often. I think the last opportunity I had was maybe like 2 years ago. When I got to have like a real sit-down discussion with them. So I'm always using this as an opportunity to kind of reflect on my past opportunities and just ask myself, like, what could I be doing differently? What could I be doing to make this a much better, more productive conversation? How much meat should I really be providing as far as like Bible discussion early on? How long should I wait? So all these kinds of things are kind of going through my head. Because my initial thought is, let's just jump in and talk about 1919 and see if they can provide any biblical support for 1919 or even 1914 for that matter. So I haven't decided yet where this is going to go. I might just sit down with them. And my feeling is if I do get into too much depth with them right off the bat, they might run away. They might not want to come back. And I have had that happen before in my experiences, so I'll have to play this one very carefully if I want to have more than one conversation with them, because my tactic is not just throw doctrine and truth at them and then just let them take it and run away. I really want to develop a relationship with them and get to know them, and of course in the process of all of that, kind of gain their trust that I really do want to get to know them and I care about them and I love them, and to where they'll actually want to hear what I have to say. And when I bring up Bible verses and stuff that challenges their belief, I'm not doing it to attack them. There's no hatred involved. I really want them to see that I love them, and so that's really my intention, and to show truth throughout that whole process. So that's, I think, all I want to say about that experience. There really wasn't that much more, and so if I do get to have a sit down with them, I will almost certainly be sharing it with you all. So that is all that I have for this video or this podcast. So hopefully next week's Watchtower Study Edition will have something interesting that I can go over. So thank you for watching and thank you for listening. For more information about Jehovah's Witnesses and other topics, please visit michaeljfelker.com. There you can also reach me directly to submit questions or comments to be covered on the JW Review. To subscribe to this podcast, please go to iTunes and search for the JW Review.